What is up, guys? Rick Cacus here, and today we are taking a look at the QUANTIPLASM Wrath of the Machine Raid Shotgun. Now, this shotgun is causing quite the stir. Never since this weapon has a raid shotgun showed such promise in terms of stats since I'd say the Found Verdict from the Vault of Glass. But does this weapon actually live up to its hype? Does this weapon actually perform? Well, that's what this video aims to find out. Firstly, let's take a look at the stats of the QUANTIPLASM. This weapon, as you can see, the stat that most stands out is the impact. The QUANTIPLASM belongs to the highest impact damaging category of shotguns. You cannot find a shotgun with a higher impact than this weapon, and it ties the impact of such heavy hitters as the Matador 64 and the Last Ditch 001. However, pretty much every other stat of this shotgun took a hit to accommodate that massive impact. The only other decent stat is the range of the QUANTIPLASM at 19. However, that is beat out by other shotguns in this category like the Matador 64, which has a native range of 23. The QUANTIPLASM's secondary stats really don't stand out. The Matador 64 beats this weapon in every secondary stat you'd want to look for. So overall, this weapon in terms of its statistics is just slightly above average. Can it make up for it in its perks? Well, let's take a look. Firstly, you're going to find a passive perk, Whirlwind's Curse. It does bonus damage against all fallen, that's pretty good in PvE, and bonus agility when this weapon is equipped. That, especially for a shotgun, can be pretty useful. Now, its ballistics really don't make that huge of an impact in terms of stats, as you can see when I scroll between them. We then have the first of the Wombo combo perks, Battle Runner paired with Running Interference, an entirely unique perk found on the QUANTIPLASM. And this weapon does have some range increasing perks in the second choice of three, with hand loaded and small bore, and speed reload to round everything out. Now again, the two Wombo combo perks, Battle Runner and Running Interference, is really what makes this gun unique. Battle Runner making it so that getting a kill will increase the sprint speed of your character for a brief time, and Running Interference making it so that when Battle Runner is active, you also gain increased armor. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are wondering how exactly that works and is it any good? Well, let's take it into some testing, because as you can see here, I'm playing my Stormcaller Warlock with a maximum armor build. So let's say I have around, for argument's sake, 200 health. And as you can see, when I'm shot in the body with the last word, which hits for 50 damage per shot, I am killed in 4 shots. Then, when I go back, shoot an enemy so that Running Interference and Battle Runner trigger and I get that extra armor, I am then alive after taking 4 body shots, which means that this weapon does give you a little bit of extra health and you'll be able to survive certain scenarios like this one where you otherwise wouldn't be alive. Frankly, making a last word user, to which there are quite a bit of in the Crucible, shoot you 1 extra time is a pretty big benefit. However, it's with this next test that you can really see the limits of this perk. After getting the bonus, I'm shot in the head with a burst of Hopscotch Pilgrim. Each shot is doing 30 damage, and I'm then meleeed, with the melee doing 122 damage. So that only adds up to 212 damage, and I'm still killed. So this weapon doesn't even give you 12 extra health. And that's not a ton. Unfortunately, the problems continue. You see, with this perk and how it works, there's several key downsides. Firstly, the first time you activate this perk, you have to get a kill. And doing so, you're going to have absolutely no bonuses to help you. It's not like Rangefinder, which is around every single time. You're going to have to get a lot of kills where you have none of these perks active and none of these benefits actually occurring. Furthermore, the way the perk works isn't that amazing. Once you get a kill, you get about 3 to 4 seconds of this benefit, and that's it. And the worst part is that it doesn't reapply. If you get another kill within this like 3-second window, it still keeps running out, and then it's gonna hit 0, you're gonna have to get a whole new kill all over again, and that's gonna hit 0 too. It doesn't stack upon itself, which again is a massive downside. Now with that being said, although this weapon's benefits certainly have their limitations, the overall benefit of getting increased sprint speed and getting some extra health, being able to get out of a scenario and survive something you normally wouldn't, or be able to get that quick double kill, is something that is quite useful. Now let's move on to exactly how useful this is when we talk about how good the QUANTIPLASM is in PvP. Well, in PvP and my time testing this weapon, I was somewhat surprised with how effective it actually was. I thought it would have to get a lot of shotgun hits followed up by a quick melee, but the shotgun was able to one-hit kill a lot of enemies. It did impress me. With that being said, I think the QUANTIPLASM is a good overall weapon in the Crucible. It has decent range, especially when combined with small bore, and it has amazing impact. It can get you one-shot kills. It is a great emergency weapon, but it's just not competitive. If you're playing anyone with a Matador 64 with a half-decent roll, they will steamroll you. Their one-shot kill potential is better than yours. And as you can see here, when I compare the QUANTIPLASM to my very good roll Party Crasher +1, the QUANTIPLASM has, what, like 3% more damage, but it misses out on like 15% of that range. So the Party Crasher +1, the Matador 64, the Last Ditch, all of those weapons have the potential to get Rifled Barrel and other very useful perks, rangefinder, and the QUANTIPLASM does it. And as we assessed earlier, the perk that this does give you, the Running Interference extra health perk, the bonus from that isn't substantial enough to make up from this lack of one-hit kill potential. Again, I don't want to sound like I'm just crapping on this weapon, because if you need a shotgun to use in PvP, this will be decent, but it just won't be extremely competitive. It's just not as good as a Matador or a Last Ditch or even a really good Party Crasher roll. Now, with all of that being said, you shouldn't count out the QUANTIPLASM just yet, because where this weapon actually does shine is in PvE. Although right now, shotguns aren't actually in their best place in terms of PvE performance, they're actually at one of their weaker states in the history of Destiny in terms of PvP damage, they certainly aren't useless. And actually, the new Wrath of the Machine raid has several sections where shotguns are by far the most useful weapons. For example, the encounter just before the final boss fight. You do not have to damage a boss, and a shotgun being able to lay out the Reaver Vandals and Reaver Captains is super useful. I personally, and many of the people in my squad, were using shotguns and finding them super effective in this and other sections of the Wrath of the Machine raid. So the QUANTIPLASM, having overall good stats, that Whirlwind perk doing extra damage to Fallen, like very useful in PvE. The stats aren't as competitive in the Crucible, but that doesn't mean they're bad or anything. And also the fact that it will always drop with a high and relevant light based on your light level means that this thing is actually quite the force to be reckoned with, and something that everyone should consider using when running the Wrath of the Machine raid and other high-end PvE activities like heroic strikes. Furthermore, additionally, because there are so many more enemies in PvE that you can kill, 10 shanks running at you at a time, and all of which are very easy to kill with the QUANTIPLASM, you're activating the Battle Runner Running Interference Wombo combo so much more often, way more often than PvP. So you're actually getting that running interference bonus, you're getting that extra health, and although as we showed in the beginning of the video, the extra health really isn't all that much, it's still extra health. It can still save your life, and therefore activating it all the time in PvE is nothing to scoff at. So, overall, the QUANTIPLASM Wrath of the Machine Raid Shotgun. I'd say it's a decent weapon. Certainly its home is more in PvE, having a highlight, decent shotgun that has a relevant perk and bonus that you're activating pretty much all the time is something that a lot of players are going to find useful. And it does fit in, and it's very useful in the Wrath of the Machine raid itself, and that is an endgame activity. If this weapon was only good in Challenge of the Elders, something no one does anymore, you know, it really wouldn't be that amazing. But because it's useful in the raid, which is obviously a huge benefit, expect to see the usage of this weapon definitely stay up. And although it can perform admirably as an emergency shotgun, like if you accidentally match made in Supremacy and you need a shotgun, this weapon can function as that, but it just won't be as competitive as some of the better shotguns out there. So guys, that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed and found this informative. Now if you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video, even if it's just telling a friend. Now if you want to see more Destiny content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter. That's linked in the description down below at RickCacus, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.